Vyas Media Network.
It's been such a pleasure to not only know you a bit better, but also to work with you on a couple of projects. We worked together twice or thrice on different projects. And what I'm most inspired by is not your skills as much as it is the fact that you are an extremely clear, decisive person. So for me, when I think of you, I have also taken a personal suggestion from you once. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. It is because of your clarity of mind. Where does that come from? You just automatically know and you make decisions so fast and they turn out to be right most of the time. For example, coming for this podcast. Such a good decision, right?
Absolutely. I was wondering where this is going to end up with.
This is exactly where it ended. But here's the point. Do you think you're a very clear person, very crystal clear in the way you think?
You know, I think one of the biggest asset we have is time, right? Mm-hmm. So unfortunately or fortunately, having positions of mine, you don't have the luxury of time. So you have to be straight and you have to be very clear with what you're trying to communicate. And to be very honest, I don't think most of my decisions are correct, but that's another limitation you have. You can't avoid making decisions and you have to be very clear, as I told you. So I think it's me, but also a position that requires you to be very clear and requires you to be decisive, because it's either fly or die.
Absolutely. And just like you said, fly or die, I noticed very interestingly your WhatsApp DP. So we've been connected on WhatsApp for a while, right? Your WhatsApp DP very interestingly says, pressure is a privilege. What does this mean to you?
I think I'm trying to synthesize the happiness and justify the environment I'm in. Unfortunately, again, pressure is every day, starting from working hours and ending up with your personal hours. And I'm trying to kind of cheer up myself, saying and lying to myself, pressure is a privilege. No, it's a really beautiful expression. And I think there are a type of people, and I might be one of those, who are actually enjoying to be under pressure, under stress, and be in a crisis and figuring out how to get out of it. So I really like that expression. That's the reason it's actually on my status on WhatsApp. And only people who are on top to a certain extent are exposed to the pressure. And not many people actually like it, to be honest. And it's all about the happiness. Some people like, some people don't.
The responsibility that comes along with something like that as well, right? Yeah. In fact, when I read this for the first time, and I read it on your DP itself, okay? This is probably a few months ago. And I was thinking, that can't be true. Pressure can't be a privilege. I would hate it. I would hate to be in a crisis. But I realized later also, there was a time in my life when I wasn't able to do anything that I wanted to do. But also at the same time, I had no pressure on me. Today, just the fact that I get to do all the amazing things I get to do, there's a certain expectation, there's a certain pressure on me. And I enjoy that. And every time I tell myself, no, I get to do this, I selected this, I chose this, I worked for it, this is a privilege and I'm going to enjoy it as well. So in a very different way, but I think of the exact same thing now. And I got sensitized to this topic based on, just your DP. And I thought about it for a very long time. And I'm so glad I had a chance to discuss this with you today. Another thing I want to ask you is this. You have the coolest phone number in Nepal. Do you know this?
No. It's not the coolest one.
It's the coolest one. I'm not going to say it on camera, but it's a very cool phone number.
I don't think it really matters this day. I mean, that phone comes from a very long time.
Exactly. That's my point. I asked you about how you have such a cool phone number. Does Ncell reserve the best numbers for the CEO? And you said absolutely not. I got this number years ago. Tell me about that.
First of all, in different cultures, numbers mean different things, right?
Okay.
And obviously, we all have some favorite numbers, right? And when you work for Ncell, obviously, you have access to some numbers and some choices you can make, right?
Yes.
So the story is very simple. When I came here a long time ago, that number was available, and I just kind of picked it up, and the company was very kind to provide me with that number. And that number was associated in different countries with me, right? So it becomes part of your identity to a certain extent. And these days, with all those mobile banking, number is extension of the person. So that is pretty much it. But what is more important is Ncell and team is working on making that feature of choosing the number available for all the customers. So every Nepali can choose the number But again, it's work in progress, but it shouldn't be privilege of Ncell employees only or certain circle. Anybody should be able to choose what they want. And if that number is available, obviously, through some procedures, that number should be given to the customer because it's all about that customer.
Vyasa Media Network.